First question, was Nikki not the one who truly ran the Velvet Room? Oh, this is about wanting more and more money. These are billionaires, money-hungry people who want more and more money. Whatever is going on with this whole business has got to do with the money. Wrong. Now, here is the crazy theory. Camilla is the boa bird because of her beautiful decor, and I was enraged by this. I want these people to lose all their money and for their estates to burn to the ground. But also, I knew it. I knew that was not his finger. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel of Delusional Theories and video essays / commentary. Yes, I'm changing the introduction because the channel is evolving. Anyway, today I woke up bleeding and in excruciating pain, so you will have me today under the influence of very strong painkillers because I need them quite often. So that is the deranged version of me you're getting today. And honestly, thank God for it, because I have some crazy ass great suspicions and theories to come. As I said on my post earlier today, I will include comments in the video at the very end of the video because you guys are one of the best parts of reviewing this TV show. The comments are always so cool. And if you've been here from my past review of season 4, you know that a lot of good theories came from fan theories from my comment section. So I'm including it. Anyway, this time I will include my suspicions and theories in my episode breakdown because that's how my painkiller influenced brain works, apparently. So there you go. Episode 4 of Only Murders in the Building season 5 is called Dirty Birds. And if you know me, you know that I have the brain of a 12-year-old boy. And if you put dirty in the title of anything, my dirty mind will not be able to handle it. But one of the birds from Vince's little deduction, I think is wrong, and I'm going to talk about it. The top takeaways for this episode is that the billionaires are definitely involved, but potentially not guilty. And I will get to how that's possible. But also, we get character development for our trio this episode. Quite late in the show, but very appreciated by me, if by no one else. Before we move to the breakdown of the episode, quick mention of the Easter egg of the intro credits in this episode, which is the 3 little birds atop the Arconia arch. The episode starts with a voiceover of the billionaires, and we, the audience, fall right into their game the same way our trio does. Because the whole time we start thinking, oh, this is about wanting more and more money. These are billionaires, money-hungry people who want more and more money. Whatever is going on with this whole business has got to do with the money. Wrong. That is the game that they want you to play in your head. But what they truly want is to play. What they truly want, perhaps, is to win whatever the hell game is going on at the Velvet Room and with everything else that we haven't figured out yet. I mean, Bash said that he defeated his father in chess when he was 5 and that no one else would ever defeat him for the rest of his life. And he made a purpose of making a point that it was so boring to live like that. And I mean, Jay says it, money is a game and rich people love to win. I mean, he kind of excludes himself from the rich people. Oh, we see you, Jay. Nepo baby Jay. So I think that in truth, what this really is about is just some game they're playing. I mean, top 20 richest people in the world, how much more money can they get? I mean, if we look at our very real world, clearly a lot more money. But also mentioning Jay, hilarious that they name the Nepo baby that is like in bed with the mob somehow Jay. Also, doesn't Logan Lerman play a Nepo baby in Bullet Train as well? Like a crime Nepo baby? Also, Logan Lerman was so goddamn charming in this episode. Jesus. I mean, it was on purpose to seduce Mabel, but Jesus. Also, I'm rewatching Fleabag and there's like this little episode where she sees like the painting of Jesus naked, bowing down or like leaning towards a woman and she looks into the camera and says, Jesus. That's how I felt watching. Oh my God. I slapped my leg so hard. That's how I felt watching Logan Lerman. Jesus. Anyway, the billionaires went to the Velvet Room, kind of still expecting there to be a party. And, even though Nikki has disappeared, Um, and also when they don't find a party, they decide to start talking about whatever this thing is that they are involved with. So they are involved with something. First question, was Nikki not the one who truly ran the Velvet Room, but in fact just a front man? Second question, if so, who did it? Third question, there is something to discuss, but they don't seem really worried about it. So it could potentially be about Lester's and Nikki's death, but also to an extent where it isn't threatening to them. I will talk about it. My current theory just from this one little scene is that they were involved in / privy to what happened to Lester and Nikki, but they didn't do it. I mean, over the episode, they all kind of give hints to the idea that they don't get their hands dirty. Jay literally has his bodyguards like film and post his videos for TikTok and then go and help the dog get the ball. Camilla didn't do the makeover in Oliver's apartment. It was like a whole crew doing it for her, so she doesn't do anything. And then Bash did try to cook, but I mean, come on. It has been years since he had touched food, and he was completely incompetent at it, and he's completely reliant on technology. So I don't think any of these three people, whatever happened, actually got their hands dirty. I think they knew what happened, they were privy to it, and they are trying to cover something up that I will discuss in a little bit, but I don't think they did it. And I mean, they're the early suspects. Whenever have the early suspects been the ones who did it? They're kind of the westies of this season, so... And I mean, they are obviously making Logan Lerman to be Mabel's love interest for this season, which was missing last season, so... Conclusion, they did not do it, but they absolutely know what happened, and are absolutely covering for something. Cut to the next day, and we get introduced to Lester the robot. And we get introduced to the idea that Howard was appointed by the board to train Lester the robot because he's the keeper of the Arconia's secrets. Yes, that is exactly what I'm thinking, and yes, I will address it. How in the world is Howard the keeper of the Arconia's secrets to such an extent that the board appoints him to train the robot? Was he just lying about it and no one appointed to train the robot and he just pretended that he did it? Or is he not actually lying about it and he's actually the keeper of the Arconia's secrets to such an official extent that the board knows about it? And how? And also, Howard, how do you pay for your apartment? If you remember correctly, in season 2, there was a whole plot line around who would inherit Bunny's, dealings at the Arconia. Because Bunny, she wasn't the building manager, but she was like either working, I don't remember the title of what she did, but she basically dealt with everyone's issues and everyone's secrets in the Arconia. And when Bunny died, Nina was appointed to do it. How in the world is Howard the one responsible for this? If someone has to have the Arconia secrets, surely it should be Nina. Also, who is the board? Do we know? Have we ever met any of them? I don't remember. Have we? Do we know who these people are? And could the billionaires be there? And we not know. I mean, Bash has to be there. They're introducing a goddamn robot as co-doorman. And I mean, I know there was the whole plot line of modernizing the building back in season 2, but I mean, who's to say that Bash hasn't been in the board since then, or someone from Bash Industries? Oh my god, I just realized that joke. Bash Industries. Oh my god. If it isn't a joke about Bash Industries, now it is. Now, here is the crazy theory. So let's say that Bash is part of the board, or even if he isn't part of the board, or even if it's someone who works for him or something like that, he has his hands on it. And that's why the robot is there, to spy on the trio, to spy on the residents, especially because he is now implicated in a murder that happened in the Arconia. So even if he was dealing shady business at the Arconia before, he was never implicated himself before, and now he is for some reason that they know and we still don't know. So what if Bash put the robot there, right? And what if Bash put the robot there and put Howard in charge because Howard is involved in this somehow? You know my theories about this. I think Howard is doing something shady. How do you pay for your apartment, Howard? So what if, because I was saying that Nikki looks more like a front man, because why were the billionaire trio, expecting there to be another party at the Velvet Room when they went there? I mean, what if Nikki was just the front man mob dude running the Velvet Room, but in reality it was someone in the building running the Velvet Room? What if Howard? What if Howard is a true person behind running the Velvet Room? What if that is why he went to the Arconia so young? Because he's supposed to be like barely out of his teenage years when he first got in the Arconia, got an apartment in the Arconia. What if he was put there? But for some reason, I would maybe have some theories. For some reason, he was put there to run the Velvet Room. What if it's Howard? And this is how he makes his money. This is how he pays for the goddamn apartment that he for sure doesn't make enough money as a librarian to pay for. Because remember, Howard is an assistant to the head of some department at the New York Public Library. He isn't the head of the department, and he isn't the head or prezi or boss or whatever of the library. He's assistant to one of the heads, but he doesn't earn enough money to be in the Arconia. There is no way in hell not to buy the apartment or to rent the apartment. Now, it could have belonged to his mother, but come on. So this is my current theory, crazy, delusional, deranged painkiller theory, is that Howard is the one that is truly behind running the Velvet Room, and this is why the billionaires were expecting a party to still take place at the Velvet Room that day, because the true person behind it isn't actually dead. And Nikki is just a frontman. And I would bet that most people don't know that it is Howard behind it. They think that Nikki is behind it. That it's like a mob thing. I will talk about why this is fake, because they talk about it in the episode. So maybe no one even knows that it is Howard, apart from the billionaires, the big players. Maybe Lester didn't even know it was Howard. Or if it isn't Howard, clearly it has to be someone else. So whoever it is, whoever was this fifth person in the room, I will get to that. It has to be the one who's involved in all of this with the billionaires. And that robot is absolutely spying on the trio for Bash. And then we get the Charles and Vince murder board. Hello, character development for... Oh my god, I wrote Charles on my notes. I was even thinking... Charles and Vince? This is how used I am to Charles doing the murder boards. Oliver and Vince build the murder board. Hello, Oliver character building. Yes, I wrote that in my notes. Okay, sometimes I write lines on my notes. Leave me alone. So the night of the murders, Lester recorded 5 people going into the Velvet Room. However, we only get 4 birds. Was Lester the 5th person that went into the Velvet Room? Did he always go into the Velvet Room? And if he went into the Velvet Room, who was there opening the door for the other people? Was he in the Velvet Room that day because it was a special day? Or was Lester actually outside the Velvet Room and there is one person we still don't know about that was inside the Velvet Room? And also, crazy theory that I might be... Why are my hands like this? Crazy theory that I might be exploring sometime soon. Is there another entrance to the Velvet Room? First bird was Nikki, the brown-headed cowbird, known for their mafia-like retaliatory behavior, which does not fit Nikki. Sophia said Nikki was a fake, was a fraud, he wasn't a real mobster. I mean, how dangerous are you if you end up hanging in your own dry cleaner's place? I don't think this was Nikki. I don't think they are attributing the right word to the right person, and I think they will have to go to Lorraine to get this right. We know that Lorraine and Loretta are going to be investigating together sometime in the future. We know that Loretta comes back into the picture and helps them investigate. So I think Loretta is going to have the idea to call Lorraine because she's going to figure out that some of these birds don't fit, and we know that she knows how Lester did it because she knew immediately which bird Oliver was. So I think Lorraine is going to come into the picture because Loretta is going to suggest it to get her to help them figure out who actually is which bird. Because there's no way in hell Nikki is the brown-headed cowbird. No way. I do have a suspicion for who that could be, and I will get to it in a second. Jay is the Eurasian Jay, who is a fraud but pretends to be a good person. Fits. I mean, I hope it doesn't, because it's so charming. Anyway. Bash is the cockapoo. I don't know how to pronounce these birds' names. Bash is cockapoo because he's way older than he shows. No one really knows how old he is. And, well, that's a big mystery and a source of many, many jokes because what in the hell is a collagen tank? Bash. Bass? Camilla is the boa bird because of her beautiful decor. And I was enraged by this because what do you mean the other two birds are attributed to these other two people because of some mystery thing behind them or some, opposing, contrasting characteristics, and then Camilla's bird is attributed to her because she designs decor? What is she hiding? And I mean, she was the first person we saw in this episode. She was the first person narrating the little thing about, the magician's trick of deviating attention. But, oh my God, they're magicians. Oh my God, is this Now I See You 3? Now you see me, now you don't. Boo. Isn't there going to be a Now You See Me 3? Anyway, I didn't like that. I think that there's some aspect behind Camilla that we are not seeing. I think the mention that we will see, eventually the trio, running away in a golf court is going to be Camilla's mention. And yeah, I think there's something there with Camilla. And of course, because of the finger, Jay is the perfect suspect. And I mean, if he's a suspect this early on, we know he didn't do it. Can you imagine if they subvert our expectations about that? Oh, I would love it. But anyway, the dinner party, that turned out to be not a dinner party. The dinner party. But before the dinner party, we meet Althea. I'm tired of calling her that, okay? We meet Althea in the elevator and we learn that her publicist is an assassin. And I don't think it is a joke. I think it's true. I will talk more about her in a little bit, but I think it's true. I think her publicist is an assassin. What can I say? I hope we meet the person. Also, before the dinner party, the trio kind of hints at season 1 when Mabel is talking about Zoe and how Althea turned her friends against her. And when she was saying this, I had a thought. Because what happened? What happened there? And I mean, she was included in the flashback in episode 2, so she has to become somewhat of a relevant character. Because if you think about it, how many of the other characters that we see in the present timeline were also included for the flashback? It was mostly characters we'd already seen and grown, fond of. But Althea was there. The fact that Althea was there makes me think she's innocent, but also whatever happened with Mabel was weird. Because Mabel started mourning Zoe, and she stayed at the Arconia for longer than she was expecting. She stayed the whole summer. So I can imagine how Althea felt abandoned somehow, how she felt Mabel was betraying her for her rich friends at the Arconia or whatever, and that triggering the whole transformation and the whole turning everyone against her and whatever. Can you imagine if this is a whole 10-year long plot? 10 years? 15-year-long plot with the fact that she wants revenge on Mabel for her abandoning her at home. And I mean, remember that in season 1, we see that Mabel's cousin has connections to crime because he's the one who is facilitating Team Kono buying those jewels through the black market. So Althea could have started there and then risen in ranks with the mob or crime families in New York. And done this whole thing of becoming a pop star and super rich and then going back to buying the penthouse at the Arconia just to get back at Mabel. I mean, she's constantly floating in Mabel's face, her success. There has to be something there. And I mean, I think maybe if anyone is the brown-headed cowbird, it wasn't Nikki. It was her. It was Althea. Because I mean, she's super rich. She's super popular. And the whole thing about this season is the new influential people is whatever happened in the social-political scheme that has transferred power from mobsters to billionaires, from this to this, from this to this. And like the whole show is about the contrast between antiquated ideas and modern ones. So, I mean, a pop star makes a lot of money. Like she's basically a stand-in for like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande, like rich pop girl, like really rich pop girlies. So wouldn't it be interesting if she was part of whatever is going on? That if she was the fifth person in the Velvet Room that night. Maybe she used the mob to rise up and got involved with the wrong people. Also, Oliver, you're too old to know about Tumblr. I lived on Tumblr when I was a teenager. It was not a shmoosh site. It wasn't. Can you tell that I watched too much Children is in Trouble? It wasn't a smoosh site. It was fun. The amount of times that I probably reblogged that little Jay Gatsby thing. Anyway, Jay says that he only plays cards in this building because it's the murder building and that he only started a few months ago. And also Jay says to Vash, thank you for your robot-like honesty. Oh, okay. But also, why is Logan Lerman so charming in this goddamn episode? I mean, it was on purpose to lure Mabel. However, goddamn it. I mean, it's so obvious that the billionaires are working together, you know, to divide and conquer. And I mean, the first thing that I noticed was the fact that they said that the news reported that Nikki was hanging in the laundry room, the dry cleaners when he was found. That was weird to me because, okay, I'm going to break this down. The police officers, when they got there, he wasn't hanging and they were surprised that he wasn't hanging, but they weren't readying themselves to hang him back up. They said, okay, let's just report it and get out of here. So supposedly, from everything that we've seen so far, the police officers reported him dead on the floor. So whenever like crime scene people went there to take pictures and analyze the scene and whatever, they would have taken a picture of him on the floor. Unless the police officers like hanged him back up when we weren't watching, but would they? So how in the world did the news report that Nikki was found hanging? Unless these three idiots were behind it because they were part of this cover-up. Because these three idiots were the ones who either told someone in the police to send those two people there or send those two police officers there. They are the ones that are behind this. However, they weren't expecting the trio to find the goddamn body. So whenever they sent the police officers to go report the dead body, they also sent the news agencies to report the news of the dead body. And because they weren't expecting the body to be on the floor, whenever the news agencies reported it, they reported the original news that they were supposed to report. Right? But also, wouldn't they check up with the police officers to make sure they found the body? Or would it be just a thing where the police officers say, yeah, we found it, it's done. Chill, it's done. And then no one knows, apart from the people at the police, that the body was found on the ground. I mean, if I was a detective working in the police, especially because I've mentioned this, there has to be someone investigating all these inconsistencies and the fact that the police investigation from season 1 was stopped and no one ever explained it why. If there's someone inside the police investigating all this bullshit, I think they would notice this. Why did the news agencies report that he was found hanging when the photos from the crime scene clearly put him on the floor? I think someone would hide this and make sure no one knows that this is how the body was found in the crime scene. Bottom line is, they were obviously responsible for hiding this and for putting his body there and making sure the police finds it. But why? Who are they protecting? They all showed up there when the trio basically said that Jay did it. And I mean, look about the way they talk about Nikki, right? They didn't know him, but they knew that he ran the Velvet Room. And Jay even says that the mobby part of it is what made it cool. Nikki was literally a prop. He was furniture. He was like the playing card tables. It's just part of the cool aspect of the Velvet Room. Because it's modern times where the new mob is the billionaires and the old mob is just the cool antique they have in the corner to show that you're cool. But my question remains, who is really behind the goddamn room? They all pretend not to know Lester, but they obviously do. And I mean, Bash even says that falling is the leading cause of death for the elderly, almost like he already knew that and had that line prepared. And I mean, we could assume that the lineup of the 5 people who were at the Velvet Room truly were Nikki, Lester, and the billionaire trio. But would Lester be in the Velvet Room? Would Lester, book himself on his little ledger? I think it was someone else. I think, because Mabel even says that maybe Lester hit someone, but I think it could have been the 5 people, and then the 5th person simply isn't Lester and is someone else. And I think it's either Howard or Althea. Or, which we will explore soon enough when it comes on the show, the goddamn mayor. But also, Bash, I'm sorry, what did you say you own? A stable of donors of plasma? And also, Camilla said that if there was a controversy around her company, she would have to fire the native weavers. I want these people to lose all their money and for their estates to burn to the ground. By the way, when the trio went to the other room to talk secretly, I just remember that one scene from season 2 when Charles and Oliver go to another room to talk secretly, and then Detective Williams hears everything through the walls. Guys, I thought this was supposed to be a character development episode. Learn! This will come back when they sign those contracts. But we find out something very important, which could be the reason why all these billionaires are involved in these shenanigans and why they covered up for Nikki's death. Jay loses his shit when he loses at the casino. He throws a tantrum, and I mean, I don't know where the hell he got the cleaver from, but he could be the reason why there are cleaver marks on the table. I don't think he would have cut his own finger, but I can see how him throwing a tantrum for some reason or getting really angry at something for some reason would start a conflict that would lead to someone getting killed. So maybe he didn't kill Nikki, but he was behind the reason why everything was riled up and could have been implicated in the death, and maybe that's why they covered it up. To protect goddamn Nepo baby Jay. Also, when they were in the kitchen, Bash mentioning the war. I swear, when he was cutting the parsley, and smiling, I had flashbacks. I swear I saw him. Cutting the parsley and smiling, I swear I saw him. A little bit. Also, he's the king of reinventing himself. What the hell does that mean? Is he a vampire? Do we get vampires in this season? Is Nikki a vampire? I discussed this I don't want this to be true. I don't want supernatural in Only Murders in the Building. Let's keep this a secret. I am not considering this. There are no vampires in Only Murders in the Building, but also, are there? Can you imagine if after 5 seasons, the truth behind it is that it is supernatural? That would kill me in such a good way. Why is Logan Lerman so goddamn charming? He was making eyes at Mabel so hard. And also, who did Jay, trust with this foundation? And is that true? Because that sounded true. And I mean, it can't all be lies. Who did he trust? Who is this friend that he shouldn't have trusted in? What happened? And is he involved? Also, the fact that he called Althea the girl, loved it. That's a positive point, in my opinion, about Jay, but the only one so far. Because the charming doesn't count. However, the charming does work on Mabel. She lets slip the whole, cloudify thing. And also, Logan Lerman, I know you're lying about something because no one your age uses the word bozos. Our age? Is he my age? So the story goes that Nikki showed up at the Velvet Room like crazy. He was potentially high on cocaine, and then he went insane with a cleaver and cut Jay's finger, and they left the finger behind and ran from the mess. Because what did you say? It's not polite to be the last person leaving a party. Was the cocaine the paint they found on his clothes? Number 1. Number 2, liars? Number 3, where did the cleaver actually come from? Like, would Nikki come into the room just yielding a cleaver? Because we know that's not Lester's weapon. We know Lester did not bring that into the room because he brought his lever. Who brought the cleaver? Who was the demented person who brought the cleaver? Or could it already been there at the bar for some reason? But the real question that none of them are addressing, not even our trio is addressing, is how in the world do these people know each other? I mean, Bash apparently has had 1,000 wives. Camila is from a family that runs casinos. I'm telling you, she's the biggest mystery of the trio. And Jay, is a nepo baby of a pharmaceutical company. How do these people know it? And also, how is Jay top 20 richest people? Surely his family would be top 20. He's a nepo baby. He has to be like low hundreds, right? Anyway, how do they know each other? Did they meet at the Velvet Room while playing stupid games and befriend each other because they like playing games, and maybe the games at the casino are getting a little bit boring and they needed a bigger game? Is this what it is? Because if they make a whole season about the fact that billionaires are so bored with their own billions that they're playing games with people's lives, I will be so satisfied. So satisfied. Next season, moon colonization. It's the only logical step. Final comment about Logan Lerman. He was so goddamn charming. I mean, Oscar, Alice, Tovert have nothing on this dude. Like, Mabel, even after she convicts him of a crime somehow, she's still going to be falling for him. I see it. They chose the perfect actor. I don't know where this man has been for years. I think the last thing I saw him in was Bullet Train, but he's forever Charlie to me, okay? I was a teenager when I watched that film. It hatched a little hole in my brain, and it's forever there. So that's literally Charlie looking at me, okay? A grown-up, very charming Charlie. Finally, there was no way in hell Camila didn't leave mics and cameras in the goddamn room. No way. No way there isn't spyware now in Oliver's house. And then they sign with Cloudify. I don't even remember what the thing's called. The moment that I saw them signing those contracts, I know, oh my god, what idiots. I mean, so ironic that this is the episode where we get character development, because we get Oliver doing the murder board, we get Mabel opening up to our duo of old people and them like making a joke on her instead of otherwise. I mean, we see character development, and then they literally still don't know to learn, don't know that they should read their goddamn contracts. It was so obvious seeing them sign those goddamn contracts. But also, I knew it. I knew that was not his finger. I mean, my deduction was different, but I was right in the end. How do I make these voices? I knew that was not his finger. I knew it. Could it be Lester's finger? We don't know. Could it be Nikki's finger? No, he had all his fingers. But it wasn't Logan. Kill me. It wasn't Jay's finger. Someone else was in the Velvet Room. Someone else got their fingers cut. And I am still, if you were here in my last review, I am still with the theory that there is another player. Maybe it was still Nikki, because maybe that's the reason why he was killed. There is another player that has been kidnapping rich-ass people and cutting their fingers to ask for a ransom. There is no way. What value does that kid have, the Nepo baby, apart from being a Nepo baby? And he's clearly protected because these billionaires care about him. Maybe his family doesn't and they do. Maybe his family also does. I don't know. I mean, clearly his family does because he has goddamn security guards fetching a ball for his dog. So I think the finger cut was for a ransom. And I think this other finger that they have is also for a ransom. And I mean, I'm going to talk about Lester and shrimp because it's in the comments from my previous video. But like whatever shenanigans happened, maybe Lester learned about this. Maybe this was Nikki's side business, why he was disappearing all the time. He was running a little ransom business and maybe the billionaires found out and he took out Nikki for revenge for what he did to Jay, whatever. Like maybe there is still a fucking person missing whose finger, the finger they have in the freezer belongs to. Let's move on to your comments. Anyway, Triple Hippie Tay says, I have believed for a couple seasons now that Howard is involved in the mystery plot holes and other crimes/secrets going on in the building. Me too. And I've laid out my theories. I think he's involved in this whole shenanigans and I hope he is because especially if this is the last season, it would be such a great payoff for the fans. And I mean, we would still love Howard anyway. It wouldn't destroy that. And I mean, why is the actor playing Howard hosting the podcast? Amy S79 says, Lester doesn't get the shrimp out of the reception, but the cut off finger ends up in the shrimp. I feel like that's maybe something important. You know what? If I am right and there is like some ransom thing going on, maybe that's why like Nikki was in the building around that time because he was doing his second ransom thing and he cut the finger, but whatever shenanigans happened with the trio, maybe he got caught or something and they put the finger in the shrimp kind of like to get rid of it somehow. I mean, if the shrimp wasn't put on the wedding, maybe they were just expecting everything to be thrown into the trash and then the finger would be gone. So whoever the finger belongs to, and if it is a ransom scheme, the family of the person who is disappeared does not know where they are because they haven't received the finger. And then, TMB80 says, I have several questions about that. Who prepared the shrimp? Where was the shrimp prepared? Why was Lester to handle the shrimp? If Lester never brought the shrimp in, where was it waiting? I mean, it had to be waiting at actually, where was it waiting? You guys, get on it in the comments. Yeah, someone mentioned, same person as before, Amy S79 mentioned that maybe the cleaver was used to cut his finger, like to cut Jay's finger, and then to kill Nikki. But I mean, you would have to be very precise in using a cleave, like a thing that big to cut one finger, because I mean, you know, how easy would it be to like arm another finger? How easy would it be with such a big thing to cut off like 3 fingers? I feel like it was different occasions. I feel like the fingers had a specific purpose and then the cleaver was just something that was there that they used on Nikki. And someone also said it was the 6th Avenue slasher. I see 3202. I don't think we'll ever find out. I think that's for the lore. Yeah, someone says, Red Corvette 89 says, I think potentially the mayor is involved, agreed, and potentially getting kickbacks from the CEOs if he wins the political race. Very probable. Maybe he plotted to create the illusion of 2 mob groups going against each other. Well, I think this has become very clear in this episode that the illusion of the 2 mob groups came from the billionaires because they clearly orchestrated the whole thing with the police officers finding the body and whatever. So I think this part has some resolution, even though we don't know why and how it actually happened. But thank you so much to everyone for commenting and engaging in the theories. It's one of the funnest parts. I mean, recording is really fun as well, and watching the episodes and figuring it out is really fun, but talking to you guys is great because you always have something else to add and often really important stuff. So do it again in the comments of this video and I will engage and answer and potentially get a lot more theory ideas from you. And I'll see you back here in a week, potentially sooner, because I think I will start working on some theories and getting them out to you to discuss them. But yeah, I will see you then. And in the meantime, if you want to support my channel and support my journey to make this a job, because it's gonna happen. You can subscribe to the channel, like, comment at this point, hype. I don't think what that even does, but well, and either join my YouTube membership or join my Patreon, where I'm covering the Rainmaker. I just realized I haven't posted this week's episode. I am a terrible salesperson. Anyway, guys, see you next week. Bye.